In the midst of a heated political climate, an attempt on the life of Donald Trump, the 45th President of the United States, sent shockwaves across the nation and around the world. The event, which unfolded with startling precision on July 14, 2024, highlighted the deep-seated divisions within American society and the lengths to which some individuals might go in their pursuit of ideological goals. This assassination attempt, though ultimately unsuccessful, became a focal point of intense media scrutiny and public discourse. The incident occurred near Butler, Pennsylvania, during a rally where thousands of supporters had gathered to hear President Trump speak. The atmosphere was charged with excitement and anticipation as chants of USA, USA, USA filled the air. However, beneath the surface of this patriotic fervor, a sinister plot was taking shape. Security measures were stringent, with Secret Service agents and local law enforcement on high alert, yet the assailant managed to breach these defenses. The attacker, later identified as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, had meticulously planned the attempt. Armed with a concealed weapon, he maneuvered through the crowd, inching closer to the stage where President Trump was delivering his speech. As the president spoke, outlining his vision for America's future, the attacker seized the moment, drawing his weapon and taking aim. A shot rang out, shattering the celebratory atmosphere and plunging the rally into chaos. Secret Service agents reacted with lightning speed, tackling the assailant and whisking President Trump away to safety. The crowd, initially stunned, erupted into a mix of panic and anger. People scrambled for cover, unsure of whether the danger had passed. Within moments, emergency services were on the scene, tending to those injured in the ensuing melee. The news of the assassination attempt spread like wildfire, dominating headlines and social media feeds. Pundits and politicians from across the spectrum weighed in, offering their perspectives on the motives behind the attack and its potential implications. Some saw it as a stark reminder of the toxic political environment, where rhetoric had escalated to violence. Others viewed it as an isolated incident, the act of a troubled individual, rather than a reflection of broader societal issues. In the days that followed, investigators pieced together the details of the plot. The attacker had acted alone, driven by a mix of personal grievances and radical ideologies. His social media profiles revealed a history of inflammatory posts and interactions with extremist groups. Mental health experts were brought in to analyze the assailant's state of mind, trying to understand what had driven him to such a drastic action. The political fallout from the attempt was immediate and profound. Supporters of President Trump rallied around him, portraying him as a resilient leader who had narrowly escaped death. They used the incident to galvanize their base, urging increased vigilance against what they perceived as threats to their way of life. Meanwhile, Trump's opponents condemned the violence but also called for a reflection on the divisive rhetoric that had come to define American politics. But amidst the political maneuvering, a broader conversation emerged about the role of security in public life. The Secret Service faced scrutiny, with questions raised about how the attacker had managed to get so close to the president. Calls for enhanced security measures at political events grew louder, with some advocating for more stringent screening processes and greater coordination between federal and local authorities. The attempt on Trump's life also sparked debates about mental health and the need for better support systems for those struggling with psychological issues. The assailant's history of mental illness became a focal point, prompting discussions about the intersection of mental health and radicalization. Policymakers and advocacy groups pushed for increased funding for mental health services, emphasizing the importance of early intervention and support. As the immediate shock of the incident began to subside, the nation grappled with its implications. For some, the assassination attempt was a wake-up call, highlighting the dangers of unchecked extremism and the urgent need for dialogue and understanding. For others, it reinforced existing fears and prejudices, deepening the ideological chasm that had come to characterize American society. President Trump, for his part, emerged from the ordeal with a renewed determination. In public appearances following the attack, he struck a defiant tone, vowing to continue his political mission undeterred. His supporters hailed him as a symbol of strength and resilience, while his critics remained skeptical, questioning whether the incident would lead to meaningful change in the political discourse. The assassination attempt on Donald Trump, while ultimately thwarted, left an indelible mark on the national consciousness. It served as a stark reminder of the volatility of political life and the ever-present threat of violence in an era of heightened tensions. As the country moved forward, The lessons from that day continued to resonate, shaping discussions about security, mental health, and the nature of political engagement in a deeply divided nation. In the aftermath, efforts to bridge the ideological divide gained momentum. Grassroots organizations and community leaders launched initiatives aimed at fostering dialogue and promoting understanding between different political factions. Educational programs focusing on media literacy and critical thinking sought to equip citizens with the tools to navigate the often murky waters of political discourse. The legacy of the assassination attempt also influenced the broader narrative of Trump's presidency. It became a touchstone for both his supporters and detractors, encapsulating the polarized nature of his tenure. For his supporters, it was a testament to the dangers he faced in his fight against what they saw as entrenched political elites and corrupt institutions. For his detractors, it underscored the urgent need for a more inclusive and compassionate political culture. Internationally, the incident drew reactions from leaders and citizens around the world. Allies expressed solidarity with the United States, condemning the attack and reaffirming their commitment to democratic values. In contrast, some adversarial nations used the event as a propaganda tool, highlighting it as evidence of instability and division within the U.S. political system. The attempt on Trump's life also had ramifications for future political campaigns and events. Security protocols were overhauled, with new technologies and strategies implemented to better protect public figures. These changes, while necessary, sparked debates about the balance between security and accessibility and the potential impact on democratic participation. In the cultural sphere, the incident inspired a wave of artistic and literary responses. Filmmakers, writers, and musicians explored the themes of violence, resilience, and the fragility of democracy in their works. These cultural artifacts served as a means of processing the collective trauma and reflecting on the broader societal issues highlighted by the assassination attempt. As years passed, the memory of the assassination attempt on Donald Trump became a part of the broader historical narrative of early 21st century America. It was studied by historians and political scientists, analyzed for its causes and consequences, and remembered by those who had lived through it. The event, though a dark chapter in the nation's history, also spurred important conversations and actions aimed at healing and progress. In reflecting on the assassination attempt, it became clear that it was not merely an isolated act of violence, but a symptom of deeper societal issues. The divisions, grievances, and challenges that gave rise to such an act were complex and multifaceted, requiring a holistic and sustained effort to address. The path forward, as many came to realize, lay in fostering a more inclusive, empathetic, and resilient society. The story of the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, while centered on a single dramatic event, ultimately served as a lens through which to examine the broader dynamics of American political life. It highlighted the interplay of personal and collective factors, the impact of rhetoric and ideology, and the ongoing struggle to uphold democratic values in the face of adversity. Through this lens, the nation continued to seek understanding, healing, and a way forward. In the wake of the attack, the nation sought to address the root causes that had led Thomas Matthew Crooks to take such drastic action. Mental health professionals and law enforcement agencies collaborated to develop new strategies for identifying and intervening with individuals who exhibited signs of radicalization or psychological distress. Community outreach programs were expanded to provide support and resources to those in need, aiming to prevent future incidents of violence. The assassination attempt also led to a reevaluation of the role of social media in the spread of extremist ideologies. Platforms were pressured to implement more robust monitoring and moderation systems to detect and counteract hate speech and radical content. These efforts were met with mixed reactions, with some applauding the move towards greater accountability, while others voiced concerns about potential infringements on free speech. Amidst these broader societal changes, personal stories of those affected by the July 14th incident began to emerge. Survivors of the rally, both supporters and detractors of Trump, shared their experiences and reflections on that harrowing day. These narratives added a human dimension to the event, highlighting the personal toll of political violence and the importance of fostering a culture of empathy and understanding. As the nation continued to heal from the shock of the assassination attempt, the lessons learned from the incident were incorporated into public policy and community initiatives. Efforts to promote mental health awareness, combat extremism, and enhance security measures became integral parts of the national agenda. These initiatives aim to create a safer and more cohesive society, where the principles of democracy and justice could thrive. The legacy of the July 14, 2024, assassination attempt on Donald Trump ultimately served as a catalyst for change, prompting a collective reckoning with the factors that had led to such an act of violence. It underscored the importance of addressing societal divisions and working towards a more inclusive and empathetic future. Through resilience, dialogue, and a commitment to democratic values, the nation sought to ensure that the lessons of that day would lead to lasting positive change.